Hey, welcome to Edge of Indy. We've had a spiritual conversation today. We've got CANvitational from Sun King, and we also have Garden Party Botanical Hard Soda, all the spirits in the world, and much more today on The Edge.
Your audio and video source featuring Indianapolis tech trends, marketing industry champions, and business innovation. This is Edge of Indy. Broadcasting from Edge Media Studios. Let's get today's conversation started.
Hey, welcome back to The Edge. My name is Aaron Sparks. I'm the host of the show. Also co-founder of Site Strategics, the producer of the show. Edge of Indy is always about and focused on what's happening in Indianapolis as it applies to entrepreneurs, innovators, movers, and shakers here in Indy. And we also feature people and organizations that are out there helping make Indianapolis a great place to live and work, and on top of that, visit. So we talk about this always. Choose local and choose local often. That's what Edge of Indy is all about. So welcome back to the show. If you haven't heard the show or caught the show, you got to check it out at edgeofindy.com. It's a fantastic show that we love. Well, that's a bit gratuitous, isn't it? I think it's fantastic, but I hope you do too. Check out all the shows. We focus on a lot of great causes and organizations this year, and we're certainly bringing exposure to some great causes and organizations today. I would like to introduce to you a couple people in the studio. We've got Caleb Handsome Dan, our SEO technician over at Site Strategics.
As usual, I'm here for the beer.
Exactly. It's like ringing a bell. Every time there's a beer on stage, for some odd reason, you magically appear.
These are facts.
Pavlovian response.
Indeed.
Absolutely start salivating. And on top of that, as he learns more about it earlier on, right, he gets all the stars aligned so he can be right here. Love that pun?
Nicely done.
Thank you very much. Well, we want to introduce you to our guest, one of our favorite Indy establishments, Sun King Brewery. And this is Dave Colt, head brewer and co-founder. How are you doing today?
Fine as frog hair. How about yourself?
And a repeat guest.
And a repeat guest.
It's been a year, hasn't it?
Yeah, it's been a while.
It's been a while, yeah.
Last time there was all kinds of technical difficulties. Couldn't get the Facebook Live feed going.
Bring that up right now, why don't you?
No, because it's going smooth and flawlessly.
Well, it was up until that moment.
Train wreck, sorry. Hey, let's have a beer, huh?
All right, okay, we got to crack it open. There we are, everybody. 1, 2, 3. There we go. See? You just never know when this is going to happen to you in your career. So,
cheers.
So, hey, Dave, thanks so much for coming back on this show, and we are huge fans of Sun King. Sun King's doing it right when it comes down to connecting with charitable organizations and just be able to connect with community. You do so much in the space of Indianapolis. It's laudable to say the least, but it is an inspiration to a heck of a lot of companies. So kudos to you and Sun King and Clay for just killing it in the charitable and the give back concepts. We're all excited about what's coming up this Saturday. That's CANvitational. Can you tell us a little bit about what's happening or what's being planned this year?
Well, in case you don't know, CANvitational is a craft canning beer festival by invitation only. We try to target breweries that aren't necessarily in our market to, bring them actually into the city. It's a secret covert operation to introduce them to Indianapolis. And then they leave and they go, damn, that was fun. I didn't expect that, And so throw a party with our friends, also raise a little bit of money for some local charities, this year benefiting Gleaners, Second Helpings, not to name a few, Art with a Heart, Joy's House, Little Red Door, Indy City Market, Outreach Inc. So 100% of the proceeds, once we pay the bills of renting tents and all that kind of good stuff, we have sponsorships that cover most of that. Then the rest of the money gets divided among the groups that are helping to volunteer.
That is fantastic. Now, how often, this is an annual experience, how long have you actually been doing the
This is our 5th annual. Thanks for asking. So, it's on Georgia Street, the west end by the convention center, and spills into Pan Am Plaza. We're going to have 60 breweries this year, which is every year we kind of get a little bit more. We have 12 new ones in the mix. Crooked Stave, Brick House, lots of good stuff. Yeah.
60 breweries.
Yeah.
How about that, Caleb?
Yeah.
Handsome Dan.
It's fantastic because I mean, you know, not only do they bring in a lot of local breweries that can, or you know, even regional, but you know, they'll bring in, like Dave was saying, breweries that don't distribute here. Like you know, we get they get on, you know, like DC Brow and Surly and some
Boston
great
Beer Works.
yeah, some really great breweries from around the nation that you know we don't get to try here that often in Indy, and it's a fantastic festival.
So how do you pick up the brewery each year with whom you're going to do the collaboration?
The CANvitational, yeah.
Yes.
Tell me what this collaboration is.
And tell us
first.
a little bit about this year's.
I will tell you
beer.
about this year's CANvitational. Thank you for asking. Nice segue into it. So the CANvitational, you know, it kind of depends. We've actually had a almost 3-year conversation with Revolution Brewing about doing something together. And, you know, through different growth and, you know, things that are going on, we just never really found a date. And finally we said, damn it. All right, let's pick something. We're going to do it. How about joining us for our CANvitational? Because they've been down all 5 years for the CANvitational. And we're like, let's party together real hard. And they said, yeah, let's do it. So, you know, the conversation then led to, well, what style of beer would you do? All of that kind of good stuff. Being mindful that typically it's a little warmer than it is currently this time of year. So we decided, you know, to do a session IPA. So all of the wonderful goodness of an IPA, but condensed down into 4.7% alcohol. So
Tell me more.
I know.
You can drink a whole mess of those.
You could, and get a responsible Uber or Lyft home,
Absolutely.
Always.
or a friend, either way. Yeah. So we thought about crispness, you know, of the beer. We actually use a little bit of agave in here to kind of thin out the body and really, you know, just push the hops to the foreground. So this year it happens to be Mosaic and Citra. 2 American hops. Mosaic is a little funky, a little fruity, some wonderful little hint of blueberry, actually, if you kind of take a sip and ponder on that, sort of like blueberry skin. You know, it's got that earthy, funky kind of thing going on. And then the Citra has all of this bright, light citrus character, which sort of raises the whole thing up.
All the wonders that you go through in your career. That is just a fantastic. You've got the best bloody job.
I'm not mad about it. Let's just say that.
So, man, my gosh, it's like a dream state I was just in as he was describing this.
Yeah.
Oh, can you share some of the lineup that you have this year? The list grows more and more every year, and this is the 5th year. So you got 60 brewers. You went through a few of them. Can you give a few more?
Yeah, absolutely. So some returning attendees: 18th Street, our friends up north; Austin Beer Works, our friends in Texas; Maui Brewing, Firestone Walker, Cigar City, Creature Comforts, Cricket Stave, Lord Hobo, Marble Brewing Company, Rar and Son, Revolution, War Pigs, Pizza Port, Oscar Blues, Melvin, and so many more.
Oh, my Lord.
Yes. And the new breweries this year, all 12 of them, in order, not alphabetical necessarily. Brickstone Brewing, Crooked Stave, Haymarket, Sweetwater, Other Half Brewing, Kenai River Brewing out of Alaska, Platform Brewing Company, War Pigs, as I mentioned previously, they're attending, Third Space Brewing, Offshoot, Proof Brewing, and Three Weavers out of California.
Brand new newcomers to the
Brand spanking new. So new people were turning on to Indianapolis and our ways.
Now, those are Indianapolis brewers, or they're just from all over the country?
They're from all over the country. I didn't name all of the states that they're from, but the furthest one away is California in Three Weavers. So it's a female-led brewery. Head brewer is also a gal, which is, you know, becoming more and more of a thing, which is great. Diversity in all things, always.
Sure. I feel like the past several years I've seen even a shift from bottles to cans. And, you know, I guess, you know, do you have some thoughts on that shift? I know you guys have been big proponents of canning from the get-go. Do you think some of those reasons have anything to play into that?
Well, thanks, Ed.
Yeah.
Thank you, Handsome, for giving me that, push there. I'm going to take a sip if I may, for a moment.
Contemplate
and
that.
As you
savor
should, yeah.
them. Out of a can, because cans are awesome. One of the reasons why we decided a can is I had a beer can collection when I was a kid. Clay also had a beer can collection. You get more dynamic, fun artwork. It's a bigger billboard and, with which to play on. But most importantly, it's better for the beer. It just simply, truly is. So if we look at, the dynamics of a beer can versus a beer bottle, we've got brown glass.
Yep.
It still allows 20% UV light to penetrate. So think about a grocery store shelf, UV 24 hours a day, 7 days a week. And if somebody's not rotating the stock properly, the beer is going to start to break down some. No sunlight going through a can. As we all know, draft beer is fantastic, right? So let's think about a can as a tiny little keg for your mouth, right? Because it's hard to tap.
I love thinking about it that way.
Yeah, because it's hard to
How
tap
would you
a
think
whole keg.
otherwise, right?
Yeah, exactly. So you've got this can, no lights getting in. Now let's talk about how it's sealed. Cans are hermetically sealed versus a metal cap on a glass bottle, and you just kind of squeeze there. Micro cracks occur with that squeezing to make that seal happen. And if we all know about gas laws of partial pressure, right, like we all do,
Yep.
Obviously.
Atmosphere 14.7%, you've got oxygen, nitrogen, and other things that are working their way back in to get to a level of equilibrium. So with a can, that's not happening. It's just not. So it's just stopped dead in its tracks. I can go a little bit further and tell you about how awesome cans are. Let's think about our pantries for a second and having a grilled cheese sandwich.
Ooh. Oh, see, look what he's doing there.
Right?
The imagery he paints
Yes.
is just fantastic.
So,
Continue,
beautifully browned on both sides, nice and gooey in the center, grilled cheese. What kind of soup are you going to eat with that?
Tomato
soup.
Exactly. Is it coming out of a jar?
It's coming out of a can.
Why? Because cans seal out stuff. So cans, they rock. And also from an earthwise sense, cans are infinitely recyclable. 70% of all post-consumer cans in the United States are recycled aluminum at this point. It's about a 2-week turnaround from the can that we're going to be finishing drinking today to come back to the brewery to be refilled again. Oh, they weigh less. So there's less fuel to transport around and all that kind of good stuff. So the reason why cans, and I know that's your next question, well, then why is it taking so long for cans? The equipment simply didn't exist to can on a small level. You had to buy a big old, from Coke or Pepsi or whomever, or a defunct line from one of the multinational conglomerates. So small bottling existed, and you can buy a single pallet of glass, go to Kinko's, get a wrap, boom, you're in a package. So for cans, you have to go to Ball Corporation. They don't want to shut off their machines, so they want to keep it running. So the smallest volume that you can buy is 150,000 cans. It's a $40,000 commitment to get one flavor out into the marketplace. So, we saw the coming trend of cans looking, doing our due diligence before we started Sun King, and, the curve or the wave of craft coming from the West Coast at us, and said, all right, cool, yes. This is a good business. We should do this. And then we said, well, if we get fortunate enough to have a small package, then what are we going to do? And then we looked at some more data and found out that, at that year, I think it was a 16% growth in craft. But people who canned Oscar Blues and a few others, 50+% growth. And we went, if we're going to catch a wave, let's catch a big wave. So, all of these things led to cans.
Yeah.
So hopefully you think they're awesome too now.
I've been persuaded. How about you, Caleb?
Yeah, I was actually telling some friends a while ago that I don't even know how or when it happened, but I have naturally evolved into, when I go to the store, I'm looking to get cans first. It's some sort of subliminal thing. I can't explain it, but yeah. But also they stack easier in the fridge.
They do. If you have Butterfingers, then they're more forgiving, in all ways. So,
But you
cans.
really can't get it into a bar fight and smash a can against the table. It just doesn't work out that way.
No, but you can shotgun one.
Yeah,
And
Wow.
of the two,
that's way cooler.
or if you're really adept or adroit, then you can, punch a hole in it with your own thumb, which is called renegading. Something I've been turned on to recently. I still haven't
We're
mustered.
getting a little bit weird
Yeah.
here.
haven't mustered that, but people I know are like, here we go.
No way.
Way,
Huh.
yeah.
You got to exercise the thumb.
I guess
Yeah.
so.
Got to work out your
It's a
renegade
muscle
thumb.
and it
Yeah.
needs working out. I guess I don't know. Nobody wants a thumb in the can.
Okay, well, moving on. Getting a little bit weird there. You have some different ticket levels available for the CANvitational, right? Want to touch on those and some pricing?
Yes, I'll touch the. No, that's not good radio.
Oh,
Anyway,
see. We got
so-
video too, so
yeah. I just realized that. as I said that.
by the way, hey, we got Facebook Live audience. If you want to ask Dave any questions or shout your proclamations of Sun King, now's the time. We certainly are watching the channel.
So general admission is $50 in advance. You can buy any of the tickets at any Sun King location or at CANvitational.com. Day of is $60, but save $10 and get them now. It's going to be beautiful, 73 and sunny on Saturday. So says the weather, folks.
60 brewers coming out.
60. I mean, imagine how much money you'd spend traveling these United States to try and
You
hit
should
all of
actually
these
be,
breweries.
yeah, you should.
We're saving you money.
You better
Yeah.
believe it.
Yeah, absolutely. And having a good time partying on the streets of downtown Indy. 75 for early special, so on and so forth. $10 designated tickets, designated driver tickets.
Oh, cool.
Not easy for me to say, apparently. Let's see what else. Yeah, I mean, I think that covers it.
So how many people have we seen at the CANvitationals prior?
How many
En
total?
masse.
Oh, in mass.
Yeah.
We try to keep it a reasonable sum, around 3,500 to 4,000 people. We want it to not be like any festival that you've gone to. You've got room to kind of move around, ponder, muse, have a conversation with a brewer. We actually demand that somebody from production staff comes to it, not just a
Other sales,
salesperson, which is fine. The salespeople are absolutely great, and we need them out there in the world. But somebody connected directly to the brewery saying, hey, yeah, I helped make this in some way. So
That's very cool.
Yeah.
I mean, and that also gives you the heart, in a particular manner, the heart of the beer and what the passion that's behind it. Not that
Absolutely.
salespeople don't have any passion, just saying. But I mean, from the craftsmanship that goes into all these beers, I mean, there's such an art form to this, and we've been talking to a number of brewers here over the course of the show here, and it's just amazing seeing how passionate and how meticulous craft brewers are. I mean, there's such a swath of different inspirations that go into creation of craft brewery, and be able to have the production people right there to be able to carry that heart. That's fantastic. That's the connection that you want to have.
absolutely.
So you also have some additional news, right?
Yeah, we. I mean, here in the office, we were really excited about the Goose the Market news moving into the
Very
having a
excited.
little- yeah,
Okay.
I mean, it's combining two of our loves.
Meat and beer.
Yeah,
We've actually had a really lovely conversation over, gosh, I think we talked to Chris about 6 months ago in regards to this. We knew we had some renovations to do in our own space to even make that a thing that happened. So yeah, it's kind of cool.
yeah, that's exciting.
Yeah.
And when is that expected to?
Well, hopefully within the next couple of 3 weeks, health department inspections and all that kind of good stuff notwithstanding. So as soon as that gets up and running, then we'll clearly be going from the rooftops, hey, come on down,
Yeah,
get some sausages and some Sun King.
yeah, it's awesome.
It's a beautiful thing, a beautiful combination, and they're a really good group of people as well.
Oh, fantastic.
You also have some additional news regarding distillery. right?
Yes. This isn't breaking news though. So
No,
we can-
but we want to tell our audience, I mean, how much we love Sun King by what you're doing now as well.
Well, yeah, we hopefully in April, as I said earlier, in according to the pre-interview part of this, that
That's the B-roll, folks.
yeah, we that we are going to be opening up a distillery in Carmel, craft distillery in Carmel. So we kind of want to do what we do with beer innovation with the spirit side and doing fun seasonal gins with botanicals that are grown here right in Indiana. Yeah.
I wholeheartely agree. Kudos, sir. Kudos.
Thank you. It'll also have beer. It's I think it's about a $5 million project, 15,000 square feet, outdoor deck overlooking the Monon Trail. Should I go on?
You had me at distilled.
Fabulous.
And so what are the various types of spirits?
It's easier to say what we probably won't be doing,
Yeah.
especially out of the gate, than what we would be doing. So imagine everything in a liquor cabinet and saying, maybe we won't start with vodka, or maybe we won't get there. We try to never say never, although I say it a lot internally, like vodka's awesome and it's great. And it's like the vanilla ice cream of spirits. So let's imagine the distilling process here. We're going to take raw ingredients and we're going to work our butts off to get it close to nothing tasting, right? So, according to federal law, vodka has to come off the still at 197 proof, which is almost pure ethanol. Ethanol has zero taste whatsoever.
But why not go for vodka if that could be your product? Give me some.
So, so then
I hear ya, I hear
we're
ya.
busting our buns to make something taste like nothing, so that then you can take and put something back to it to make it taste like something. And that sounds to me like a crazy thing to want to do.
Hey, I'm a huge Dirty Martini fan, so watch where you're stepping there, man. You're
That
encroaching.
doesn't mean that we can't make neutral spirits, moonshine, have its own kind of flavor
Yep.
that would pair perfectly with a dirty martini. So what if we targeted an end product that was specifically to go into a martini with olives and all that kind of good stuff, or Gibson or what have you?
There you go.
So that's the track that we look at.
Very cool. Wow.
And have you looked to any other? New Holland comes to mind, who's done this before. Have you looked to them or anybody like them who's come at it from both sides, or just going on your own?
Yeah, New Holland definitely is an inspiration. They've clearly been doing it for a while, and they make some darn good stuff.
Mm-hmm.
Corsair out of Tennessee makes some killer things. They have, I don't know, if you look up on their website, probably 30 gins that they've produced over the course of time.
I've
Double
had and
smoked
really enjoyed some of their
whiskeys.
gin.
Yeah, I mean, they just make some great stuff. So that's the kind of, not that the big boys don't make fantastic stuff, they do, but if I just tried to target that would be boring. It'd be the same old track, right? So why not have some fun, have some innovation? Maybe we develop something that's a brand new thing that people go, oh my gosh, great.
Yep.
Yeah.
Well, good luck in that, and we're certainly
Thanks.
going to be watching from afar. And as the bourbon comes up for tasting, we would certainly love to have you back here in the Edge Media Studios again.
Well, I mean, we don't have to wait for the bourbon because that's going to be 4 years from now plus.
We shouldn't wait for the bourbon.
So we could try some other things instead. And what I want to also say is that we're gonna take that same kind of thing and move it forward and back into the community, just like we do with the beer. So what this helps us do is hire more Hoosiers, do more awesome things, and give back more. So
Fantastic, and that's a great way to sum it up here, Dave. Is that Sun King is not just only a case study, but it's an inspiration to local businesses, Indianapolis businesses, of how to give back. You guys are setting such great groundwork and just a wake of care towards Indianapolis and Indiana. So we just want to say thank you again for what you guys are doing regularly. It's just awe-inspiring. It truly is.
thank you, Indiana. I mean, we couldn't do it without you. So
Fantastic. So to finish up on the CANvitational, it's this Saturday.
this Saturday, Early entry is at noon. Regular general admission at 1 o'clock. $50 prior to 60 day of. Don't wait. Get them now.
Get your VIP ticket too. $75.
Get after it. Come in. There's some special tappings that happen during that hour before the rest of the folks come in. And remember, all proceeds go back to wonderful organizations in the state.
And if they get there right at noon, there will be food trucks and what have you serving foods.
Absolutely.
Yep.
Mm-hmm.
And there's even renegade thumb tapping practice.
No. That's on your own. It's on your own dime. We're not part of that game.
Fantastic. All right, so connect with CANvitational on Twitter at Sun King Brewing. As well as at CANvitational, CAN, obviously. Go look at the events coming up on Facebook off of Sun King. You can also check out the events. Just search for CANvitational. You'll find that. Instagram, Sun King Brewing, and hashtag CANvitational. And you can also check out the website at Ticketfly, but you'll be able to reach it over at sunkingbrewing.com, right?
Yeah, just come by, buy a pint, get a ticket. Life is good.
Life is good. And this Saturday is going to be fantastic. Thanks so much, Dave. I appreciate you
thank
stopping
you.
by. And thanks for the beverages, always.
My pleasure. Cheers.
Absolutely. You got to love it. All right. Well, here's a cheers. and one question I got to ask here is Joe Ball off of the I know the Facebook feed says, will Sun King name a future beer based off Caleb's awesome shirt?
I think A, B, and Bev beat us to the punch with America. So otherwise, I mean, looking at that makes me want to say that. And Stars and Stripes already taken as well. So it's really hard to name a beer out there in the world, but we'd love to. Yeah.
Fantastic. All right. Hey, we love having Sun King here, and it's great inspiration as always. Remember to choose local and connect with Sun King in all the areas in which they're doing good work. Check out their website. They're doing so much. 400 different organizations that they help out, as well as 700 different events over the course of this year. It is just fantastic. So check that out. Thanks so much. We're going to bounce right over to Paul Poteet with his weird and wacky news and the weather right now.
Real life. Real stories. Let's see what's trending in Indianapolis. This is Paul Poteet on The Edge.
Well, if it isn't my favorite wacky news and weatherman, Paul Poteet.
Substituting for Brittany this week here on The Edge of Indy.
Well, I appreciate that because we gave her one chance, and boy, well, her mom really appreciated it.
My mom liked it.
You did a very good job.
Thank you.
Yep, absolutely.
I have worked, Brittany, with more than one person in my 38 years of broadcasting and media, as I should say these days. In 38 years, I've worked with more than one person who would not take a vacation because he was afraid that the key card would be changed when he came back. Because somebody would do such a great job like you did with the weather that there'd be no reason for them.
I'll let you keep your job, Paul.
Of course, I found that the key card can change, even without you leaving the city limits. So it really doesn't matter. Take the vacation.
Just know that you're on the bubble, Paul.
Right.
I mean
You should stay on my good side, okay?
you need to bring us good weather regularly.
I always assume, Aaron. I'm on the, but that's my business model. Assuming, but you know what's going to keep me here for years and years? It's funny soaps and pregnant women with bees on their belly and Legos.
That honestly was not our discussion about why we would have you on regular. So that's your common job description right there. Wow.
Going forward, that's my business plan. So we found a few on the edge. Did you ever try to find a good Christmas gift for like somebody, a business associate or whatever? This first story, at first you think, well, there's nothing to it, but then you think, I could see ordering this, online for.
Oh, man. I got some cackles as soon as you sent us this story. So, take it away, man.
This is a company, and it's called Whiskey River, and which of course, I have a Google search at all times, alerts for whiskey.
I got an alert.
Whatever comes up anywhere on the internet. Whiskey. Hello, Paul. Are you awake? Yeah, he is next to that tumbler over in the corner. This is Whiskey River. They make wacky soaps. and they have, for all I know, they all smell the same. I mean, who knows? But the labels are the funny things because they're very attractive labels. And the more I looked at this, I thought, oh, I could totally see people going online and buying this for perhaps, say, a hipster or a middle child or whatever. And that's some of the ones here, like they have one for where are we at? Yeah, introverts. That's good. It's unscented because you're not going anywhere anyway.
Oh, keep going. It gets better.
Grammar police. It smells like you're annoying.
But notice the Y-O-U-R, not the possessive Y-O-U apostrophe R-E. Now, we actually had a cackle about that because we were so fixated on that syntax that literally we weren't seeing that it was actually about grammar police. So
wait a minute. Stop. Hammer time. You were already grammar policing it before you saw the joke.
Exactly.
Of grammar police.
So there's a market for that.
It was like Inception.
Oh, wait a minute. Oh, am I not ready for that? It's like rain on your wedding day is what you're saying. It's all right.
Oh, no. Put her back in the box. No, I'm not ready for her.
That's hilarious. I mean, how many times, though, have you seen the grammar police online? In the middle of some big political argument or whatever, somebody's right there with the your thing.
Yep.
This is one I thought was funny, too, with apologies to the artist watching us. Soap for true artists smells like unemployment combined with ramen noodles and high-quality paintbrushes.
Oh, my gosh.
That's cold, baby. That's cold.
And Brittany got a kick out of this one, the middle child.
Are you a middle child, Brittany?
That I am.
Largely invisible. That's what you are to us right now.
Go ahead and dye your hair purple. No one will notice.
And it's actually purple. That's the best.
Now, I'm going to own this one. Soap for Geeks, Wi-Fi scented. No one else understands the scent, but, hey, we all have a place there, right?
Did that, tug at your heartstrings
it
just
really
a little bit?
Except for the next one, and that was the soap for hipsters, coffee, bacon, and craft beer. Now, that one really tugged at my heart.
That one made me laugh. Made me LOL, as we hipsters say.
And the top kind of looks like bacon.
It absolutely
yeah, exactly.
does.
I mean, they've got the whole thing down. And, well, I don't know, Brittany. Let's look at our co-host here. Let's see. Bacon, beard.
Yep. There it is.
What was that cup right now that you were just chugging a moment ago?
Never you mind.
Oh, do you have the Google alert set up for whiskey too?
I have Amazon shipping those Google alerts. So we're good.
Coffee, bacon. We've heard of his love of bacon. I mean, everything is in there. Craft beer, maybe a time or two.
Oh, a few.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Absolutely. So if anybody wants to order me the hipster soap,
I'm all
hipsters.
Good.
Yep. Production.
They've got a bunch of these. I don't know how much. Are we still in the scroll there from their webpage because they lay them all out for.
Oh, it was hilarious. It was hilarious.
Again, there's a joke there. It says no regrets. Smells like a bad tattoo. And again, grammar police. What's wrong with that picture? No regrets.
Yep.
We've all seen the memes about the tattoos gone awry. So that's the one for your friend that has a mom with like 3 M's or whatever on their arm.
It was a funny article over at Board Panda. That just got me interested in the actual website, so I'm going to check that out as well. But
yeah, I mean that's is this comedy or marketing? I think it's probably more marketing than anything else. So check that out. That's whiskey, or just we'll have the link, in our show notes, or just check out whiskey. That's what I do.
Done.
Always check out whiskey. Now, I would have to have probably about 5 scotch and sodas in me to even think about 20,000 honeybees on my person.
Oh my gosh, yeah. This one.
Now imagine, and I will go, Aaron, excuse me, as I, direct this directly. Hello, Brittany, I'm looking directly at you now.
I'm here with you.
With pregnancy looming, would you want 20,000 bees on your pregnant belly?
That's a quick no.
That's a
quick, hard
firm
no.
Oh my gosh.
Well, she's I guess in fairness to her, she is a beekeeper. And she's also pregnant and posed with 20. Look at that. Oh, good.
That makes my skin crawl.
She says that, where was it? I hope I copied this down. She said that it feels, you get this prickly feeling.
You don't say.
Beg your pardon? She's talking about the photo shoot here. You get this prickly feeling, very warm, and it smells like lemongrass all at the same time. It's sort of like when a kitten crawls on you. No, it's not.
Ma'am, it's not.
What kind of kittens are crawling on her?
That's not purring, that's buzzing.
Oh my gosh. I mean,
she said she ran it past 3 different doctors and they said it was okay, but she was stung 3 different times during the shoot. And I don't know, your babies, I feel it when you get stung. I mean, I don't know.
If you get stung that much, could it not only affect your immune system and mess with the child?
Or is it better to get stung when you're? I got stung one time.
Oh no!
Look at that.
No!
I was a kid and I wasn't wearing shoes because I grew up in Huntington County, Indiana. But seriously, I'm just running around with no shoes, and I can still remember. And I was probably 4 or 5. Stepping on a bee, and the bee got really mad, and I got really stung, and I had Barney Rubble feet after that. I mean, they were swole up. So I have always had, a creepiness about bees.
And I think most of society does.
I have a fun bee fact. The only time I've been stung by a bee, I was in Hawaii.
It's a Hawaii bee.
It was a very special Hawaiian bee. And it still hurt.
Now, I mean, no offense to beekeepers, and because we actually had a beekeeper and someone who is passionate about bees on the show, and all that's fine and dandy, but don't shake 20,000 bees on yourself. I think she would even say
one of them's going to get PO'd. 1 out of 20,000. Okay,
yeah, exactly.
Or
Buzz off.
Maybe 3 out of 20,000, like you said. She got stung 3 times.
It's interesting though, because I guess her dad was a beekeeper. And then he got to a point where he couldn't do it anymore. You can't keep the bees once you get to a certain age or whatever. And I think her husband then took over and she and her husband, bees came into my life at a time that we had just suffered a miscarriage. It was our second miscarriage. We were trying to get pregnant. She wanted to find an outlet for an emotion where honeybees symbolize the beginning of new life, the queen bee and her being pregnant or whatever. So, I guess there's more to the story than meets the eye.
Yeah.
But look at what met the eye. I mean, let's look at that one more time here. Let's just sit back and linger on 20,000 bees on somebody's
all right,
stomach.
Bring it up again.
Come on.
Ugh.
If anything went wrong, her backup plan was to remove the dress quickly and walk into the garage where she would, as it says, be separated from the bees.
Because they very easily make separations from people all the time.
Just
my plan would be to flail, helplessly and scream
and jump into
scream
water.
like I did when I was 4 years old. I would probably have the same scream.
Speaking of flailing 4-year-olds, right?
Oh, I mean, look at this. You've got to have Legos in your house still, Aaron, right?
Oh gosh, yes. And on top of that, they are the bane of our existence because they get underfoot.
They hurt.
They hurt.
They're like little
Yeah,
demons.
I mean, my only foot injuries then, in adult life weren't from bees. They were from either running or 2 boys, growing up with Legos. We still have Legos down the hall from Studio B that they've left behind. Now one of them is buying Legos for his son. So they go on and on. This guy in Michigan had kept all of his Legos though, and he had, he has a family now, and he says he has he had $7,000 worth of Legos that he started collecting when he was 5 years old. So he got burglarized, and he said the only thing that they took were the Legos.
That is so sad.
What kind of soap would that criminal have bought?
They ignored his expensive electronics, camera equipment, and tools, solely targeted his Lego collection.
That is so bizarre.
Which he values at about $7,000. But I guess they kept they left behind the manuals, so he would be able to reassemble, and he had it insured.
Oh,
too.
wow. Yeah. Oh my gosh. I've got a great buddy here in Indianapolis that has literally like 50,000 Legos. I mean, he makes a business out of that, obviously. And he went down to his basement, and literally the entire basement floor is all the different models, all the different buildings, as well as backup models. They had a flood at one point in time, and there was a sea of Legos that you could swim through in the basement. It was terrible. it was kind of interesting at the same time. But I mean, somebody going in there and ripping off Legos, that's like tearing up a childhood memory right there. That is terrible.
Yeah, it's like people that, I don't know, rob a church or whatever. And you always wonder, man, how can you, do you worry about the karma there? Lego karma coming back to bite you? And probably would bite you on the bottom of your foot.
Probably so. There it is.
Over and over and over.
In the middle of the night, too. So guard your Legos.
Absolutely. Insure your Legos.
If you've learned nothing else from this segment, I want you to contact the Whiskey River Company for fine soaps and contact your, insurance professional to make sure that you have a rider. Make sure you have the Lego rider. That's very crucial.
You just snap that onto your existing policy.
Yeah, very nice. Do the Legos float very well?
Yes,
too?
they do. They do. It was a sea of a swath of Legos. I mean, it was literally that deep. I mean, a tsunami.
So if
A legami.
Yeah,
I don't know. I'm going to stop.
If he lived in Miami right now, we'd find him like packing up the station wagon with Legos at this very moment. So he gets ready to bug out just to make sure that they're okay. Well, there you have it: bees, whiskey, soap, and Legos, and of course the weather. If you want it,
we want it. Absolutely, some major stuff happening right now.
Brittany's up here and I'm down here when it comes to weather. Yeah, major stuff is happening. The biggest threat for Florida is probably going to be on Sunday. And, depending on which flavor of modeling that you look at right now, right along the south part of the state or maybe the western, even coast of the state. But it does look like the time period is settling on very late Saturday night into Sunday. So they still have, some time as we record this on Wednesday, but still the logistics are staggering. There's a lot of people. If you've ever been down to Florida, that's not a small, to Miami. I mean, that's not a small, heck, if it's a beautiful sunny day, just getting from Miami to the Florida Keys, it takes like a day. So
I saw that Irma is the size of, it's bigger than Ohio. The storm itself is bigger than
I could believe that with the cloud shield and such. And it's interesting. We went so long without a major hurricane affecting the United. But that's the way of weather. It's the extremes that build the average. We always talk about the average high and the average low every day. Well, how many days did that average actually happen? It's the sum total of all the recorded time, and we're making up for it. But here, I hope you don't feel guilty, but we're gonna have a beautiful weekend here. Well, they have some nice days that we don't have in January. So I guess you have to think of the trade-offs. We may get some showers scattered around here as we're on this afternoon, and then after that may be it for a while. Kind of brisk on Wednesday, but low to mid 70s every day from Thursday into September's. So we can get some pretty good weather out of that. So hopefully you can get some things done this weekend. I can pretend I'm still with those kind of blue skies. I can pretend we're still in Colorado. Thank you for the whole, mountain scenery thing. That might be a problem.
I got to ask you one quick thing about these hurricanes. What is a Category 5++?
A Category 5++?
Yeah, that's what I'm hearing being mentioned right now.
Well, I guess because, typically there isn't anything, it only goes up so far. I guess that's to denote the possibility that it's going to be mainly on the high end of the Category 5. Mm-hmm. The Saffir-Simpson scale is, predicated on, the actual wind speeds involved. It's different from the EF scale, or it used to be called just the F scale, but the Fujita scale for tornadoes is kind of an after the fact thing, and it's based more on the damage that is caused as opposed to the estimated wind speeds, because nobody's flying into a tornado to estimate. You can't. You don't know as much about a specific tornado ahead of time as you do from a hurricane. So that's one difference between when we toss around, it was an F1 tornado or an F3. We don't know that until after the fact, whereas usually, you have some idea of the hurricane before the fact. So, just to denote that it's on the high side of that Category 5, which is bad enough already, because it is an exponential thing. I mean, it's not like little stair steps from 1 to 2 to 3 to 4. I mean, it's there's a big jump between each category.
Pretty much, it's really bad.
It's really, but there's some terrible clickbait too. I had tweeted earlier today some article from the Tennessean, which was you were supposed to click to find out, will Hurricane Irma strike Nashville? Short answer, probably not, since it's in in the middle of Tennessee. But so there is some. It's prudent to be worried about it, but there are certainly plenty of people ready to take advantage of it.
Always.
Is it
right.
going to hit you in Des Moines, Iowa? Click here to find out why. And after these 3 ads preload, we'll tell you.
Do we all pay a stupid tax on the internet? Is that what we're talking about?
Every productive hour that we spend on there, I suppose you could say that we're doing it. Yeah.
Well, Paul, welcome back, and thanks so much for the wonderful news and the weather coming up here. We're love to see you back in the seat next week. Let us know if there's any other things that happen, and you can certainly chime into the Edge of Indy notes and news that we have if something arises here in Nashville or Indianapolis from the hurricane.
Florida, yes.
I'm
Tennessee,
in Indianapolis.
probably not so much. And we're probably, we get remnants sometimes.
Yeah,
but we're not hit by hurricanes.
Yep.
If we are, that means something big has happened that we didn't notice. And that means also our real estate is probably worth a lot more.
Coast property in Indianapolis.
That's right.
All right,
Things
man.
would change. Yeah.
Thanks so much, Paul, and we'll talk to you next week.
Bye, Paul.
All right. See you guys.
All right. Bye-bye.
This is Edge of Indy, showcasing Indianapolis tech trends, marketing industry champions, and business innovation. Broadcasting from Edge Media Studios. Now, let's get back to today's topic.
Edge of Memphis. Edge of Indy. Whatever that was. Well, I can't really say anything, but Brittany had her wine last week, and now she's ready to enjoy some hard soda. So, as much, we'd like to welcome Stephen Eads. I had it right the first time. Boy.
He's been drinking.
I'm saying. Co-founder of Garden Party Botanical Hard Soda to the show. Welcome, sir.
Thank you. Thanks for having me.
You are certainly welcome. Well, Brittany's been buzzing about your appearance on the show for weeks. So thanks for being here, and for providing her for even more happiness than usual.
This is a good day.
Well, anything we can do to help with that,
Thank you.
That's what we're here for.
Well, you certainly came armed for bear here. So tell us about what Garden Party Botanical Hard Soda is all about.
Okay. What we did was, we looked at the flavored malt beverage category, the Mike's Hard Lemonade, the Lime-A-Ritas, the Henry's Hard Soda, Not Your Father's. And what we figured out, Erin and I, Erin Ed's my wife, what we figured, as opposed to Erin Ed's my new studio boyfriend here, is
That's never going to go away.
What we looked at was, the same, kind of craft elements that has driven sales in beer and spirits over the last 10 plus years were not being applied to this category. And so Erin wanted to.
He's cracking it open.
I'm cracking it open now.
want to really create a canned cocktail that would address. It's a $5 billion market. Expected to double in the next 5 years. So we thought we would kind of come in with something unique, botanical, all natural, gluten-free, lower sugar, and really introduce something unique to the market. So. We launched Garden Party last November, and the response has been just overwhelmingly positive so far.
Well, yeah, you're kind of a big deal now. You've gotten coverage from Beverage Industry, Marriott Traveler, Indy Star, IBJ, Inside Indiana Business. You are big time now.
Yes, thank you. Bloomberg Business Week actually did an article on us back in March about the return of the wine cooler, and they listed us along with a brand called Ramona, which was created by the beverage director of the multiple James Beard Award-winning Momofuku Restaurant Group in New York City. So as I say, I looked at my wife and I said, "You're being, compared alongside the beverage director of Momofuku. That's pretty cool.
Kind of a big, big deal.
So yeah, Gear Patrol magazine, which is a men's magazine, 2 million readers, did their top 5 summer cocktails in a can back in May. Ruby was one of the 5. The other 4 was one out of Philadelphia, one out of Long Island, one out of San Diego, and one out of Brazil. So, we're definitely getting recognition for what we're doing, not only locally, but, the national buzz is kind of starting to increase as well.
It's an incredibly unique flavor. I mean, it is an awesome. Yeah, exactly. Come on, catch up on this. Come on.
Quickly, everyone.
I was being polite. Guests first.
Now, you're actually our guest, but yeah, there we go. It's a very unique flavor, and it actually goes right into
Your brain.
In a good way. It's an alcoholic nootropic,
Oh, see, I like that phrase. Well, it really ties into the entire sour mash craft industry as well. I mean, there's so much that's happening in the craft brewers environment. Obviously, we just had Sun King on prior, but this artisanal focus that is happening is making just a brush fire across the country. We're seeing that happen, and you're tying right into it. So the timing is impeccable, and it obviously was planned, right?
Of course. The thing is, and you had Dave on earlier, and, we've known Dave and Clay for years and just been incredibly impressed with what they've done. They have led the way in making Indiana known for their craft offerings, not only now in beer, but you're starting to see it now with distilleries like Cardinal Spirits and Hotel Tango and 1205 and Heartland and a bunch of ones that I'll fail to mention. But you're starting to see an increase in the quality of the products that are coming out of Indiana,
right?
And really establishing a name. So one of the things we wanted to do was really bring Garden Party alongside them. I mean, we don't compare ourselves to a beer. We're not we're malt based, but we're not a beer. Sure. So we're separate from what these guys do, but we really follow their dedication to quality and innovation and great tasting products. And we want that reputation that Indiana's getting for great breweries and beer and spirits to continue, and hopefully people will look at like again, I use the mics because they're kind of the standard, and say the craft movement in that started in Indianapolis.
This is so far different than Mike's, and I really consider Mike's, and nothing against smart.
Shots
Mike's.
fired
There we
again.
are. but I mean, it's almost that's truly like I don't even say soda, because this is a unique beverage. This you've got it labeled as hard soda, but I mean the Mike's hard lemonades and all that are so laden with sugar, and it coats your mouth. This is actually something completely different.
It's refreshing.
It is absolutely refreshing.
When I did the research and really looking into the hard sodas, at that time, Not Your Father's was really exploding onto the scene. I mean, they went from basically zero to $93 million in sales just within a couple years. And I talked to probably close to 100 people who all said the same thing, which is they love the brand, couldn't wait to get their hands on it. But when they had that first one, that sugary aftertaste,
yep.
They bought a 6-pack, they drank 1 or 2, they put it in the fridge,
That's
and 3
my
months
experience,
later,
yep.
They have 2 left. And we thought, that's not the pull-through that you look for for a brand. And they still did $93 million in sales. So,
right.
At the same time, they're tapping into a market that's there. So what we wanted to do was to say, okay, there's a market that's there. There's people who are looking for a product like this. Let's give that to them, and let's give them an alternative.
Yep.
So for the people who maybe don't want craft beer or don't want cocktail product, this will fit in kind of that that middle ground.
No, absolutely. And I'd be remiss if I didn't mention the millennial aspect of all this. Is that you've got millennials that are of age, obviously, and
Yes.
sometimes they don't
21
behave
and
that
over,
way.
yes.
But just kidding. But they've been unfortunately weaned on sugary sodas. I mean, that's such a diet choice now. I mean, it's everywhere. It's pervasive. The corn syrup's everywhere. You've got that want for that type of flavoring, and again, this helps mature that and kind of wean off of the high sugar, high fructose type of concept,
Yeah.
and it gets them into a little bit more mature perspective.
Palate.
Yeah, absolutely. And funny story. It actually was a year ago this month. Aaron actually got a call from ZX Ventures, which is Anheuser-Busch's InBev's venture capital arm, and got a call from their director of acquisitions and said, "Hey, we're watching what you're doing. We see that you're targeting millennial females. We just now got our data that says that the millennial female group is the most underrepresented group in the adult beverage category. How did you figure that out?" And Aaron said, I just keep an eye on trends, and I see what my friends are doing and people out in the field, and it just seemed to be logical. But at the same time, we thought, what the heck is Anheuser-Busch calling us 2 months before we launch? How do they know about it?
Yeah.
So it was kind of, an indication that, what we're doing, as we've been told, is kind of being watched because
it's awesome.
Well, thank you. And it's also something no one else is doing, or at least very few are doing. So it's kind of incumbent on us to get the word out and make people aware of it, because when people drink it, they love it, and at the very least they get what we're doing. So that always helps. They may say, this is not my soda, but my wife would love this, or I'll take this to a party because my friends will want to have it, or something like this. So they see what we're doing and what we're trying to accomplish.
As your demographic, can I give you a glowing testimonial for a moment?
Absolutely.
Okay, because you created this for me, so I'd like to tell you why I love it so much. I drink hard soda. Like, I'm a wine drinker and I'm a hard soda drinker. And the ones that you mentioned, though good, as you said, you have one and your mouth feels like sticky or sugary or gross. It hits your stomach. You feel full. This is my favorite drink. This Ruby in particular. Ruby, if you haven't had Ruby, everyone needs to be drinking Ruby because it's phenomenal. If you like Moscow Mules, this is your drink. I like it because, you all somehow have these ingredients that are all natural and phenomenal in them. Plus, somehow in this tiny little can, you've managed to have 8% alcohol, which is, if you don't realize what that means, it'll get you there in a quick minute.
We wanted to create somewhere in between, craft beer runs about 5 or 6%, and wine, which runs about 11. So that puts us kind of in a category all of our own.
This is my fun zone.
Yeah, fun zone, absolutely. Absolutely. And so, that allowed us to kind of do that. And when they sent us the first couple test batches with the 8%, that was our reaction, which was, holy cow, you can't taste the alcohol.
You don't taste the alcohol.
Yeah.
It's amazing.
Wow. And just to have a job where you have test batches of alcohol to drink.
Oh, yeah. I mean, as I like
Again,
to say.
this show, I mean, we are in awe of the guests that we've had on the show.
Thanks.
Best jobs ever.
It's not like, say, some people work for a living. I peddle booze. I mean, there's nothing wrong with that.
And we help you.
Yes.
So for the glowing testimonial, how much did you pay her for that?
Nothing. No, I have not been paid. And I told him when I go home after this, I have this in the fridge and I'm drinking this when I get home too. So
That is just messed up.
no, it's not. I live by what I'm saying right now. This is the best drink I drink.
Well, thank you.
You're
Thank
welcome.
So your brand has grown so much in the last year. The product is now found in bars, shops, restaurants in over 90% of the state. Can you walk us through how you developed your distribution and where the products are available throughout the state?
Yeah, and actually a little update on that. We are now in 100%.
Boom.
Rhodes distributing out of Plainfield. Not only is distributing us in kind of the missing 7 counties, essentially the South Bend, Elkhart, Mishawaka area.
Yep.
But they are also representing us as a brokerage firm as we begin to expand outside the state. So we're looking to expand in 7 states that they've targeted, that they have distributor partners in within the next 3 to 6 months. So we're excited about that. We were incredibly fortunate. I walked into Monarch Beverage in January of 2016 and met with Scott Shipley, and I had a name and a concept. We didn't have logos, we didn't have business cards, we didn't have samples. All I wanted to do was just sit down and say, as someone who distributes these type of products, what would you be looking for? And I asked for 15 minutes. I was there an hour and a half, and I walked out with a commitment for Monarch to carry the brand. And for us, that was that just altered our model to do what we intended to do. And so, I cannot thank Monarch enough, not only, for being an incredibly, well-respected distributor, but having faith in what we were doing, 10 months before we even launched. And for us, that has, we just talk to people that say that's unheard of. You just don't walk in with a concept brand and get a distribution from someone that, large and well respected. So we were able to take that, expand to Alco Distributing in Fort Wayne, to Cal Brew in Hammond, and again with Rhodes. And what we've been doing kind of this summer is really honing in on the markets, finding our customers, getting the feedback. As I said a couple months ago, it took us 6 months to figure out what we had because it was just so new. So we didn't want to go beyond there, until we were certain that we could convey what we had to, distributors and retailers outside the state. And we're confident that we're ready to do that now.
And on the heels of your launch, you all received the Beverage Industry Magazine's 2016 Innovation of the Year Award. That's phenomenal.
It was amazing because we didn't apply for it.
That's even better.
Beverage Industries magazines, the leading beverage publication, they take 3,000 new products every year, alcohol, non-alcohol, and they pick 5 that they see as innovators. And past winners have been offerings from Starbucks, from Maxwell House, Mountain Dew Kickstart, Malibu Rum, Dogfish Head, and we were one of the 5 last year. And that was just an immediate and a tremendous validation
Absolutely.
to what we were doing. So, that just gave us confidence that if we were good at our jobs and getting the word out and getting people to try it, then we knew they would like it because, people who do that for a living, saw what we were doing. So, yeah, we were thrilled about that.
I know Aaron isn't here.
Yes.
But the other Aaron.
The other Aaron. Yeah. The one that touts an incredible success of beverages. But you can still gloat on her a little bit. You've spoken very highly of her, referring to her as the ambassador for women in the male-dominated beverage industry. What gives her that drive and initiative?
I think that it's just what she's really good at. And going back to the Beverage Industry Award, we were the first women-owned business in the U.S. to earn that distinction. The beverage industry is a very male-dominated industry, and Erin, through her prior company, was able to earn national, accolades and awards through that. And she has such a great palate, and she has such a great instinct for what people want and how to create it. And then again, I'm kind of the B team here, but Erin has such a charismatic personality that if you're around her for 5 minutes, you see her on TV on segments, you understand her passion and her knowledge and her willingness to share the spotlight with others. She was invited when they had the first conference for women at the JW Marriott. They brought in Martha Stewart as the keynote, and they invited her company and another to be the 2 that basically represented Indiana for Martha Stewart. And so Erin, completely on her own, went out and got a gift basket and filled it full of products from 15 different women-owned businesses in the Indianapolis area to present to Martha as an indication of, yes, we're here, but there are so many women, businesses out there that are doing, their thing as well.
Kudos to her. Absolutely.
And, we've tried to do that. We tried to share the wealth, we couldn't do this on our own. We have so many people that have helped us along the way. And, that's something that, Erin does among the many other talents that she has that I think that, people are drawn to.
I'm sorry she's not here. I miss her. I've met her several times. I think every time I see her, I hug her. I want to applaud you, both of you. You do a great job of holding up other companies here locally and kind of the way that we want to, carry that flame for everyone. You all do that just as much. So we want to thank you for that.
Well, thank you. Erin tried to hug Martha Stewart, by the way.
Well, That's
you could barely
probably
see
hard.
it.
That's
Yeah.
probably hard to do.
Yeah, but yeah, you could tell if you see the video, her hand kind of goes up like this, and you could tell she has that moment of, that's Martha Stewart. I don't think she's a hugger, you know.
She doesn't strike me as a hugger.
Yeah, and so she kind of sneaks in for the handshake there, but
Here she is, right here.
yeah,
That's your girl.
yes, and that is at Flatwater. Flatwater has cocktails with Garden Party as well.
Need to Photoshop
And-
that Stella out of the equation, though.
You know, they're a good brand too.
Yes, they are.
So if you don't get Garden Party, you can get a Stella. But again, Flatwater is one of the many restaurants, but they're one of our favorites. You know, in our prior brand, they were the first restaurant that carried it. They were one of the first with Garden Party. They're just great people. And again, if you've never done Sunday Fun Day out at Flatwater, you need to do so, especially before the weather turns.
You know, I got to hug Steve Forbes.
Oh my gosh, I can't believe you just brought that up. Wow.
Well, I mean, I'm
I
thinking
know, it's
Aaron
like
hugging and
your special moment.
it triggered me.
Absolutely. I don't know if I'd hug Steve Forbes or not.
I was there. I saw it happen. And it was a good moment
It was
for
a
you.
good moment for
It
me.
was-
Absolutely.
Did you reach for his wallet? But I think it's for Steve Forbes. That'd be my hugging motivation.
No, his
right
handler,
there.
his handler said that Steve doesn't hug anybody, and I broke through that threshold.
I can't believe that just came back up. I love it
Yeah.
so much.
All right. So hey, you guys will be serving up samples at this weekend's LPGA event at the Brickyard Crossing and the Whitestown Brew Fest on
Yes.
September 16th.
Yes.
And where else can people keep an eye out for you two?
Where can I stalk you some more?
Well, we are available at the larger area Kroger stores, Fresh Time, Whole Foods.
That's where I get used fresh time.
Yes. Target in Glendale, in Greenwood, and Fishers. And, you know, we're online at drinkgp.com, Facebook, drinkgp, Instagram, I think it's Drink Garden Party. You know, we're available. You know, we're out there. You know, we'd love to get feedback or places that we can serve. You know, if you have a restaurant and you don't have us yet, please bring us in.
You know, we got to start figuring out the official drink of Edge of Indy.
This is mine.
Yes.
So there's multiple.
I don't think there's anything to figure out. I think we just.
I think
Yeah.
I think I just solved that for you.
What a great story! What an amazing story! In January of last year,
What
it
a
was a
difference a
concept.
year makes.
Wow.
Yeah.
No, that is amazing, and that absolutely goes to show. I mean, Monarch's a great brand here in Indiana, and they're also a couple states. They're not just
No,
Indiana.
well, there's 69 counties in Indiana.
Right,
So
right.
we're- yeah.
But I mean, Monarch. I mean, it just shows how giving back can absolutely. I mean, they spent an hour and a half with you, right?
Yeah.
And they certainly committed to you after that. But
Yes.
just opening the door and listening to entrepreneurs and innovators and hearing their story, right?
Yeah.
And giving people an opportunity.
Yeah.
That's fantastic. And you have a testimony, you have a case study of how well that works inside of Indiana.
Mm-hmm.
So I mean, and there's certainly a lot of vendors and a lot of manufacturers that you have relationships with that help you muster all this within the 2-year period of time, less than 2-year period of time.
Yeah, no successful business is an island upon itself.
Yep.
You know, there are so many people that help you along the way. We've had so many, you know, people advise us and help us and open doors for us, and just sometimes, you know, let us, you know, throw ideas past them, and so yeah, it's not that, you know, Aaron and I just sit there isolated and we do all this stuff on our own. No, it takes tons of people. Any startup, they will tell you, it takes tons of people to help get you where you need to go. Right. And, you know, having that foundation is going to help as we grow, because again, you're going to face challenges when you do that. And the more educated you are and the more prepared you are for them, you know, I don't know if it makes it easier, but at least you're better prepared for it, that you're not, you know, you don't make these, you know, crazy rash decisions. Right. or get overwhelmed or anything like that. So yeah, I mean, you know, we definitely want to thank, you know, the Indianapolis startup community and the people who've been involved in it, because all of them in some way or another have helped us get to this point.
And your most loyal consumer.
Yes.
You're welcome. I
Yes.
am keeping you in business. You're welcome.
There's nothing wrong with that.
That's right.
So when she drags herself in on certain days, I can blame Garden Party, Botanical hard soda.
I will take that blame full shoulder. Yes.
Well, thank you so much, Steve, and kudos to Erin, and please give her our thanks, because it's great to be able to see that type of passion, that focus, and it's a great demonstration to so many companies here in Indiana that you can do it too. You can create something that can go national that quickly, right? And obviously you're 100% in the state. You can pick up Garden Party anywhere, and
you should.
And you should.
Yes.
All right. Well, that's a wrap for this week's Edge of Indy. Thanks so much for all the guests today. What a spiritual day, a spiritual show it has been today.
I feel so much better.
Invigorated, you might say. Hey, if you're interested in being part of the Edge of Indy, I mean, just give us a shout and contact us. We're always open to whose stories we should be telling as it applies to Indianapolis and Indiana. Thanks so much for watching the live stream. Thanks so much for listening to our audio podcast on all the different platforms. Reach out and communicate with us if you're interested in being a sponsor or want a story to tell. Just edgeofindy.com, and check us out next week. We got some great news stories to tell coming up. Bye-bye.